everyone, and welcome to Stock Market Today, sponsored by Interactive Brokers. On the show, we're going to be taking a look at Target, Floor & Decor, as well as Carvana. Some interesting chart action there. But first, let's take a look at the major indexes. It's Alyssa Corum here with Justin Nielsen. And Justin, we saw an update across the board. The NASDAQ up about 0.9%. Same with the Dow, the S&P up 0.8%, and we have the NASDAQ back above that 8,000 level, but not quite yet the 50-day.
And almost a little begrudgingly, because it was up a lot more earlier in the day, and it did fade a little bit into the close, but it did recover to close very well, a nice move, and above that 8,000 level, but we still have, and this is something that we keep on talking about, we still have that 50-day line as a resistance point for the NASDAQ composite, and that's the thing I'm kind of looking at right now. I'd like to really see it kind of get above there with some oomph, not just like this, oh, let's get there and then come back and get there and come back. But if we can get there and stay above there, that will kind of tell me that there's a true turn happening here.
Right. Well, we are waiting for that, but there is some interesting action among individual names right now.
Right, and that's the big thing is that we are seeing a lot of setups in the stocks. And so while we were a little negative last week because we did have that follow-through day undercut, which is usually a pretty bad sign, the fact that we do still continue to have these setups is something very positive.
Yeah, well, let's take a look at a few of those, starting with Target, with shares blasting higher about 21% today. Super heavy volume. This is an earnings move, kind of a theme that we've been seeing as of late, these retail-related earnings movers, but this one actually has really strong earnings growth behind it.
Yes, and there's also, you have to look at the new part. There's definitely the department stores and things like that a lot of people talk about as that dying breed. But what Target is doing is they are kind of upping their game, and they've had this whole kind of strategy that they put in place since February 2017, and they're hey, we need to compete with Walmart. We need to compete with Amazon. They're doing a lot of things in terms of curbside delivery. A lot of digital sales were up like 34%, in addition to their just regular profits being up 24%. The same day fulfillment, a lot of things going like that. And they have their brands, their kind of in-house brands.
Yeah, they revamped all of those in-house brands.
And they just announced that they are doing a new Good and Gather is going to be their new private brand. So that private label, if you can get more people in with the groceries and things like that, and then get them to buy a few other things and kind of get that one-stop shop. It's a strategy that they've been working on and, revamping their stores completely. So a lot of things going on there that are very new and make it a very interesting play. Yeah,
that's right. And with that gap up today, shares clearing a consolidation, quite a breakaway here. Where would you use your entry price here? Is it extended now, or?
Yeah, so this is where when you see a breakaway gap and you have that line in the sand and it's way above there. So this is where we really kind of turn to the intraday chart and see how it acts throughout the day. It kind of came in at the first 5-minute bar. It didn't seem like it was going to get traction, but then it really started moving a little bit later. It wasn't making too much more progress beyond that gap, but the fact that it closed well is something that looks very positive and could make it continue to go further.
All right, well, we will keep tabs on Target, but let's pivot our attention to Floor & Decor, which gained about 7% today with earnings from Lowe's today, Home Depot yesterday, really kind of moving in tandem with those names. But in terms of the chart action here, can you break this down for us? Because it looks like there was a cup with handle, but that was undercut. It's approaching old highs again.
Yeah, so that gets difficult when you have a base that gets undercut. Now, granted, you can explain it away with the market, and it made sense, but what's important here is you don't let these things get off your radar. And so sometimes when they cross back above that buy point, it can still give you, maybe another opportunity. Even if you cut it before, even if you bought it and then had to cut it, it might be very difficult to buy something back at a higher price. That feels very wrong, but sometimes that's what you have to do. And by doing so, you can get access to moves like this, where it can continue going. And right now it's looking very strong. It's probably extended from here, but the point I wanted to make here was keep these things on your radar. It's a very strong composite rating of 99. This is something that came out IPO in April of 2017. Another retail name. it's an expansion play.
Right.
This is something that's growing and expanding. So if it can continue to do that expansion, this might have further room to grow.
Yeah, and it really fell off the radar, got hit very hard in the Q4 2018 correction, but setting up again and on the rise. And I mean, with that high composite rating, strong fundamentals, and strong chart action.
Right.
It has the makings of something with a lot of potential.
That's the trifecta.
Exactly. All right. Well, last but not least, let's take a look at Carvana, which actually doesn't quite have the fundamentals there, but very strong action today. So let's get into the nitty-gritty of why this came up on the radar for you today as a swing trade.
Yeah, so there's a lot of things that we've been talking about in terms of these IPO bases, these IPOs, where they might not have the fundamentals yet, but what we do look for is, hey, can it have strong revenue growth? And Carvana fits the bill there. It's got triple-digit revenue growth. I mean, I think we're going like 18 quarters. It's incredible. So, and here again, it's a retail play, but they're doing something new. We're pure online. The used car salesman is gone, and I'm not sure if you've seen any of the vending machines. They're actually building one not too far from my house.
You see them on the highways.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So, you get a big coin, you stick it in, and
very viral type experience in today's social media
and that's probably more
age.
Advertising and getting the brand out there. But they are expanding into a lot of different markets. I think they only have 16 or 17 of those vending machines. But they are expanding into different markets, and they have a very liberal return policy. If you're not going to get to test drive with a used car salesman, you have to kind of get some comfort. And so there is a new out there, and with that triple-digit sales growth, this is something that's been on our radar for a while, and it did break out, kind of went flat for a little while, but it was holding up very well compared to what the market was doing, and that allowed its relative strength line to go up a lot, very strong relative strength, and so we put it on this morning on Swing Trader and Leaderboard.
Right, and very, higher than average volume for the day, and a gain of about 9%, and it closing almost at the top of the range for the day.
That's what we like to see.
Yes, it is. All right, well, that's it for today, everyone. And again, just in case you missed it, you should definitely check out our latest episode of Investing Strategies. It's our new weekly show from the NASDAQ market site in Times Square. So we talked about large cap growth this week, so very fitting for our audience. So you definitely want to check that out. And coming up tomorrow, we will have a new episode of our Investing with IBD podcast coming out, and you can go to investors.com/podcast for that. Justin is going to be one of the guests on the podcast this week, breaking down some charts.
Yes, exactly. It'll be a lot of fun with Arusha.
It will. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you right back here tomorrow.